Welcome back. Well, today I'm joined by Dan Oweiler, who is here from Sterling Financial. Well, Dan, how are you? Nice to see you.
We're doing well, Lisa, and it's been a few weeks since we've been able to chat, but that's okay. The holidays came in. My 96-year-old mother passed away a week before Christmas, but as I said, she's 96, and it was time for her to move on. Bittersweet, but
Yeah,
that's
it's
the way
tough.
it is.
Well, it's tough when they live a long time. It's tough on the body. So I'm glad that she hopefully passed without any.
Well, gratefully, she was still. Yeah, gratefully she was still living independently. We didn't have to put her into a assisted living or anything like that, so that worked out well for us.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, good for her. Nonetheless, here we are in
So it's been a little while since we met.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So here we are in 2021, and we've got some Social Security changes you'd like to tell us about.
Well, Social Security changes every year just because it's built into the system. And so it's always good to know the updates of what's going on and those things. Most Social Security recipients already have started receiving their annual quote unquote cost of living adjustments. Mm-hmm. That wasn't very much this year. It was only like 1.3%. And so that wasn't very much, but compared to 2019, it was 2.8%. So that's kind of a little bit lower this year because inflation isn't as high as it used to be. I mean, I think I did an analysis, probably 2 or 3 years ago from 1970 through 1990, and it was a 2.8% average. So that means some were higher, some were lower. So,
right. Well, yeah, the cost of living in California seems higher, so it seems like it should be better for those who live here.
They should regionalize the cost of living.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be
great.
Nice. Yeah. So now it looks like the full retirement age is a little bit older than it was. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, they've got that built in. Full retirement has been adjusting. When it first started, it was 65 years old back when Roosevelt brought Social Security into play. 65 was the full retirement age. As our life expectancy have started to go up and things like that, they've started to move that back up. This year it was 66 and 8 months. Next year it'll be 66 and 10 months. And in 2022, it's going to be 67 years before they consider that full retirement.
Oh, well, okay.
So
it's pushing us longer and longer to work.
If you want full retirement, you're just going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I don't want to wait till 70, but I still want my full money.
Well, if you wait till age 70, you're going to get more than your full retirement because Social Security increases 8% every year after full retirement. So right. It's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing.
Exactly. Well, I would imagine that the key thing would be to have other finances that you'd be able to rely on until that mark if you decide to retire a little early.
Well, and that's what we do. We do some planning with some people. We obviously say, okay, maybe you can take spousal benefits and delay yours until age 70 so you can get a higher benefit. So all that comes into the cash flow planning of our income plans that we put together for people, saying the optimum time maybe is to take it at 66, or you may be able to provide, like you said, have some other assets that you can generate income from so you can delay that and get a higher benefit. Right. It usually takes about 12 to 13 years to break even for waiting. So if you take it at age 70, that means you've got to live to be 82, 83 years old before it breaks even for you. So there's a lot of things that goes into that in the planning process.
I see. Okay, good. Now, also, I understand that you can be taxed on your Social Security. So what is it happening differently this year?
Well, your Social Security is going to be taxed. Well, it's not so much it's happening, but the amount that you're paying Social Security tax on is going to be increasing. Last year, it was 137,000. So for the first 137,000, we are taxed on that, what they call Social Security income. This year, it's going to be increased to 142,000, which gives you a little bit longer you have to pay taxes on. Once you pass 130 or 142,000 this year, that income is not taxed. So there's a maximum amount you're taxed on, but that keeps increasing based upon inflation and the threshold that you're going to be taxed on.
Right. Now, I noticed here it says 6.2% on employees and 12.4% on self-employed.
Well, self-employed, the reason why is because employees have the other 6.2 being paid by the employer. So if you're self-employed, you have to not only pay for the employee portion, but you also have to pay for the employer portion. So those of us that are in self-employed, we don't have another employer paying the portion for us, so we end up having to pay the whole bill. So there's advantages and disadvantages of having a boss.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure.
Right.
Now there's a limit increase, and it looks like it has increased by just a little bit.
Okay, the earning increases basically is in regards to if you take Social Security early at age 62, there's some earnings that you can earn with not having it impact your Social Security. So for every $2 that you earn, they take $1 away from Social Security because you took Social Security early. Okay, and so that's going to increase a little bit, probably $700 if you're single. It goes up a little bit more if you're married. I think 48,000 if you're married, but that's in regards to if you're taking Social Security early and working at the same time. Mm-hmm. So the earnings limit, it bumps up a little bit, but that's in regards to if you're taking it early.
Okay. And let's talk about some of the proposed changes that President Joe Biden has put into place. We have here.
He's recommended. It's not, and it hasn't taken place yet, but he wants to replace the typical CPI index with what they call the retirement spending index. What do retirees actually spend as opposed to the general population? And so if he ties it to retirement spending, there tends to be more healthcare costs and things like that. They're included in retirement spending as opposed to a younger person that doesn't have a lot of healthcare costs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then there was another thing that says here, the minimum Social Security benefit to 125%. What would that do?
The minimum Social Security benefits to poverty level. Oh, he wants to increase the minimum Social Security benefits. If you haven't put in enough, if you haven't worked long enough, they want the minimum benefit to be 125% of the poverty level. So that's a proposal for if you haven't worked enough quarters in your lifetime, let's say a spouse or something like that, or you just been not working that long, that they want the minimum benefit to be 125% of the poverty level.
I see. Okay.
So you can get a benefit like that. So, and there's miscellaneous things that he wants to talk about, caregivers who have children and things like that. But All these things change every year. The main thing is the full retirement age is going to increase a couple more months to 66 and 10 months. In 2022, it's going to go to age 67. So it's going to break that threshold of 67 for those people. So there's a little bit that we need to be aware of. The increase in for inflation went up 1.3%, which wasn't a big thing, but there were some years that we didn't even get increases because inflation was flat. So.
Well, right. But, people are living longer, they're healthier longer, and they like to work. I mean, lots of people don't want to retire. They just want to keep doing their job if they love it. So,
yeah, there's a lot of things that come into play in regards to when to take you always say, when's the perfect time to take Social Security? There is no perfect time for everybody. It varies with each individual. I've had people say, I have enough money, I'm going to put it off till age 70, and that's great. I have other people that rely on Social Security to live on, and they started it at 62. Yeah. And then for each individual, it's different. And so you can't say when's the perfect time, because you have a lot of advisors will say, well, if you take it at age 66, you're going to be giving up $137,000 of benefits. Well, it doesn't do you any good if it can't pay your bills, so there's a give and take in everything that you do. You just have to make sure that you take it at the right time for your situation.
All right. Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for the information.
Oh, well, I appreciate you coming on with me, or me having on with you, and it's always good to see you. And we'll do it again. I think we're planned for a couple of weeks from now or something like that.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right. All right, Lisa. Thanks.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And we'll be right back after this.